Hi again, it's Tim Meyer from Keep Yourself Relevant, and today I want to spend a little time in our continuing series of leading teams. Uh, I built a assessment tool to determine if your team member is an introvert or an extrovert, and I want to show that what I built to you. This is a continuation of a group of items and videos that help you know and learn more about your team. There's four different tools that I use to better understand my team members. Communication style assessment, which I'll do in another video. A DISC assessment, which is a tool that we can use to determine and learn more about how your team member works in a regular state, and then how they tend to work in a state of stress or an environment that's stressful. And then StrengthsFinder is a public tool that you can use to determine your top 5 strengths. And then today I'm going to talk a little bit about the introvert and extrovert, which was based on a book that I read a number of years ago. So the name of the book is Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking by Susan Cain. And it's a really good book. I work in the technology uh, world, and there's a lot of introverts, and I'm one myself, and they tend to be able to accomplish a lot of work. So I always felt it was important to better understand the introverts as we work in a world of more extroverts that are leading us. It's important to better understand how to motivate and work with the introverts that are on your team. So there is an assessment in here that has 20 questions in it, and you can then score that. At the time, I was teaching at a local university, and I wanted to break my class into teams to be able to do some team projects. So I used this as one of the ways to better understand who the team members were, since I didn't know a lot of the students uh, at the beginning of the course. So they took this I did this as an assignment where they answered these 20 questions, put an X under the true or false category as to whether or not they, for example, the first question: I prefer one-on-one conversations to group activities. If that's true, you put an X in this column. If it's false, you put an X in this column, and it scores. Get scored as an introvert, extrovert, or if it's a 10 to 10 score, then you are considered a ambivalent. You're in between. So what I did now recently was completed an assessment tool and put it into a Microsoft arena. So I created a list of 20 questions in Word with true or false format. I imported that word into MS Forms. Then I wrote a Power Automate flow that's triggered upon the completion of the assessment. The next step was within the Power Flow workflow was to score the responses and then determine whether or not the person was an introvert or an extrovert. And then lastly, the last step was to convert that assessment into a PDF and then attach that as an email to the participant or the responder. So I'll go over the pieces of the assessment, the MS form, the Power Automate flow, the email that's sent to the responder, and the PDF response. I won't go into a lot of detail, but just so you have a feel for what that would look like. So in the upper left-hand corner here, I have the actual flow, the MS forms. So you can send this to an individual, and then they'll get this and they'll answer and go through those questions. Once that assessment is completed, that automatically triggers this Power Automate flow, which you can see here. The first step is when a new response is submitted, it'll go through, do some initialization, and then go through some steps to apply and work through the various questions and then send out an email. The email would look like this. It sends an email to the person that sent the responder and this PDF. And then in the PDF, it actually goes through and shows you the results of the 20 questions and your answer as true or false. And again, this assessment was provided or based on the book from Susan Cain, Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking. So hopefully that was helpful to understand how we built it. Now, why should we know more about introverts and extroverts? Back in high school, if you will, extroverts were considered the jocks and the cheerleaders, and then oversimplifying, obviously. And the introverts were the poets and the people that were good in the sciences. In the world that we live in today, many think of this as an extrovert's world. Many of the CEOs and top leadership are thought of as extroverts. There's this psychology that a lot of the book is based on relative to introverts, specifically in chapter 9 of the book. It talks about the person situation debate, whether or not you, as an introvert, can adapt your style, your own personnel traits to the situation, and that's really what has been found to be successful. As there's more and more introverts that are leading organizations such as Google and other companies. It's based on this concept of a free trait theory that people have there's fixed traits and free traits that can coexist at the same time. And the free trait theory runs counter to the often quoted or advice from Shakespeare, to thine oneself be true. But the concept of the book, or the chapter 9, that I think is relative to understanding and working with introverts is that introverts are capable of acting like extroverts and out of character. And they do that for the sake of the work that's important to them and the people they love. So I'd recommend that you continue your exploration of more details in this book from Susan Cain, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking. The main emphasis of this video was to show you how you can build the assessment and then get the results from your team and be able to better understand what type of team you have. Thank you for joining today. If you like this, consider giving it the thumbs up or consider subscribing. Thank you and have a good day.